Talking Shirts is presented in partnership with White Oak Cottage. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Hello, welcome. This is episode number 148 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike of Hull KR Shirts, and today we're going to talk our way around this 2013 away shirt. Now, I've got a couple of 2013 away shirts. Those were match issue to Luke George and to Dale Ferguson. And one thing that kind of bugged me about them was that both of those players during that era were on short-term loans. So the squad numbers are quite high. We had Luke George, he was 33, and Dale Ferguson was 32. So it's been nice to be able to add this one into my collection, which does have a starting number. That starting number is the number 5. And on the back of here, we have got the surname of David Hodgson. So the 2013 away shirt is predominantly navy. It does have elements of orange detailing going on here. Orange is a colour that we have touched upon a little bit, but not too much in the Hull KR kit pantheon. When we're looking at it, we've got the 2009 away shirt. That's probably the one that people recognise the most for having orange detailing. But this is probably the second closest. We had elements of it on the P&G shirt in 2015 as well, but that's kind of it really. It's not something that we've kind of touched the well on too much. People may recall back to the early 1990s with the diamond shirt that had orange, green and white, so that could possibly be where the idea for this design came from. But yeah, just something that hasn't really sort of set with me in terms of its style. So as I've said, predominantly navy, and we've got quite a lot of overstitching going on here, which is a nice sort of design detail that you don't see too much on modern day shirts. I don't know if the cost around that maybe costs a little bit more to be able to produce, but it's not something that we see too often, although we have seen it here and there. Everything on the front of this shirt has been dye sublimated in, so we've got the City Healthcare Partnership, we've got Techno, Bear Spot, the Hull KR Club crest, and then we have got higher base as well. All of those elements have been dye sublimated. We've got this big gel patch on the front, and we've kind of got the swaying line of that as well. It's not a straight line, it is something that sort of dips and raises again. So I feel like elements of that which we have got in the overstitch, we've got it on the gel grips, and we've even got it in the design elements that start out quite thin on the bottom right as wearing, that then as they progress across the shirt do naturally progress and get bigger. And within that we have got a honeycomb design. But the point that I want to make is that a lot of these sort of lines that are quite curved all kind of coincide a lot with the Bear Sport logo, and it just makes me wonder if these design elements have been put into place to complement that. That's something that we've spoken about in the past on previous episodes of Talking Shirts, where we've looked at sort of angles and shapes and things with comparing it to that Bear Sport logo. It's not lost on me either how big that is. Adidas have recently increased the size of their branding across a lot of their merchandise, and obviously Bear Sport was doing it way back when, here in 2013. But yeah, for me, way too big. Way too big. On the front of here is a signature. It's been signed by David Hodgson. I can kind of guess that this wasn't signed at the time, because this has been signed, and it's been signed with the squad number 31. David Hodgson was squad number 31 in 2017, not in 2014. In 2013, sorry. So that does annoy me a little bit. When David played in 12, 13 and 14, he was squad number 5. But when he came back out of retirement in 2017, when we was a little bit short and a bit light on numbers, I think he played a further 5 games in 2017. He was squad number 31, so that's probably able to help us date when this was signed. It's not the best of signatures. It's kind of ran and faded a little bit, so yeah, not overly pleased on that one too much. Also on the front is this nice little drop tag we've got going on down here. Official team merchandise, Bear Sport. And then we've got the Hull KR Club crest. That's got an overstitch as well, where that has been stitched onto the shirt there, which makes it look quite nice. Let's have a little look at this sleeve. So this is the left-hand side sleeve as wearing, and the design elements that we've got on the front with the honeycombs in the orange and white does continue on the sleeve here. And again, we've got the fact that it raises and dips, and again, it does very much look like that Bear Sport logo in terms of its movement. We've got Build Base, they're a sister company of Higher Base, who featured quite a lot across Hull KR shirts across the years. They're on this sleeve here. It is an all navy sleeve, and then we've got these lovely just white cuffs just to finish it off nicely. No extra stitching or anything underneath, just everything we would expect. And then we've got this little external label here with the Bear logo on, which is quite cool. Let's just rotate it round to the other side here. And then on this sleeve here, again, we've got the continuation of the design that we saw on that left-hand side sleeve that continues up here. And then below that, we have got Jackson's Building Centres. That's been dye sublimated into the shirt. And then above that, we have got Heinz Big. In 2013, there wasn't a title sponsor, if you like, for the Super League competition. But Heinz Beans, or Heinz Big, I think it was Big Soup actually, wasn't it? Not Heinz Beans. Heinz Big, which was Heinz Soup. That was a competition sponsor that did feature across a lot of the shirts in 2013. It was also on quite a few in 2012 as well. So yeah, just a 2-year partnership. But yeah, these big green patches that was heat applied to all these shirts. Yeah, clues in the name really. It's a bit big, isn't it? Not for me. So that's been the front and the sides. What we're going to do is just have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll talk about the back of the shirt.
White Oak Cottage is a 2-bedroom luxury holiday cottage set in the stunning Lincolnshire Wolds. It has 2 ensuite bedrooms, a hot tub, wood burner, Wi-Fi, electric vehicle charger, and is pet friendly. It is ideally situated in the Wolds, yet only 15 miles from the coast and 25 miles from the historic city of Lincoln. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Welcome back to episode number 148 of Talking Shirts. Prior to that quick break, we was talking our way around David Hodgson's 2013 away shirt, and we are now back with the reverse. So there's quite a bit to talk about here, which I like. So on the back of this shirt, the design elements on the front don't necessarily continue. It is just a plain navy back body to these shirts. On here, we've got the East Yorkshire Shutters Limited. Those guys have had their branding dye sublimated in. Underneath that, we've got the Community Hub logo. So having 2 sponsors on the back of a shirt is something that we don't often see at the top, because it is then sort of compounded by the fact we've got a third one at the bottom, which is Hull College, HC UK. Their branding also has been dye sublimated in. All of these have been done in their natural colourways, but it doesn't affect the aesthetics of the shirt, which is good. We've seen it in the past where we've got a really nice shirt. I think the one that sort of strikes my mind is the Mine shirt, where we've got higher base at the bottom in red on that lovely grey and purple shirt. Stands out like a sore thumb, which is great for the sponsor, but not necessarily great from an aesthetic point of view with the shirt. So yeah, quite happy about how these have been applied to the back. And what you can also see around where this Community Hub logo is, this is where we have got the GPS tracker pouch, which has been stitched into the back of the shirt. I can feel that sort of quite significantly in the back of there, and I'm sure it kind of lumps out on the mannequin. The fabric that was used was a really sort of like, it must be quite high in elastane. It's really stretchy material, this. You can see where it grips to the mannequin and then just sort of lets loose a little bit here where there isn't anything to support it. You can see if I pull it down, look how stretchy that is. They're a very sort of generous fit, shall we say, these 2013 shirts. That was the same for the home shirt as well. And the replicas was a very similar material, if I remember rightly as well. When you're wearing it, it really does sort of cling to you, but we'll also have that little bit of pull in it as well. On the back of here, we have got D Hodgson and number 5. That has been heat applied in the Super League font and letter set. On this occasion, Dave Hodgson, he had to have D applied before Hodgson, purely because we also had Josh Hodgson at the club as well. So Josh had J Hodgson, Dave had D Hodgson. Obviously the squad numbers was different, but that's just the Super League ruling. Obviously Dave was squad number 5 during 2013. This was Dave Hodgson's second season with the club. He signed ahead of that 2012 season. In his first stint with us, he made 53 appearances. And as I alluded to in part 1, in 2017 he came out of retirement to help us out a little bit. He played a further 5 games during that season. So during his sort of playing career, he did score 34 tries. So as I mentioned in the previous episode of Talking Shirts, where we spoke about Dave's shirt, that was a really good sort of games to try ratio, really. He scored 4 tries in one game as well, which is a tied record. From a Super League perspective, we've got a few other players who have also done that. Mostly noted Joe Burgess, he did it in 2024. Ben Crooks did it. There's a few players that have done that for us. So yeah, hopefully one day we'll get somebody that can shatter that and get 5. Never say never. 2026 might be for the year for that. We'll keep our fingers and toes crossed that somebody can sort of rule out this tied record and own it for themselves one day. That would be really cool. When Dave signed for us in 2012, he was a really welcomed addition. He brought a lot of experience to the playing group. We had quite a big turnover at the end of 2011, heading into 2012, and he certainly steadied the ship on that left wing position, as you would fully expect a man of his professional integrity to be able to do so. The guy who just seems to sort of hold everything together, really, in terms of being an assistant coach at the club. So yeah, that's been your tour around this 2013 away shirt. One last thing that I'd like to mention, I always seem to forget to talk about this when I talk about these Berda shirts, but at the bottom here, they've got these grips that go all the way around that just say Berda Sport. I call it Berda tape, and basically, when these have got little gel grips on them, and what happens is when a player wears it, it basically keeps the shirt stuck down to them. If you was to sort of put it down and then put your shorts over it and pull the drawstring, this would basically hold it in place. And I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that the shirts are really quite sort of stretchy, and if somebody was to grab hold of it, they could probably grab it and put a lot of tension on in terms of being able to tackle. So maybe that just helps alleviate that a little bit. But yeah, as I said earlier on, you can just see how it just curves around the mannequin here. Just kind of wants to grip real tight and then just gets real sort of baggy and wavy at the bottom. Just a very strange type of style and fit, really, especially when you look at what we've done now. A lot of the elastane in the modern shirts is in the sides, so the front panel and the back are a lot more a rigid material, whereas the elastane is in the side panels, so that's where it kind of grips you and fits you a lot more better than these ones. Yeah, I can imagine these weren't too popular amongst the playing group. So yeah, that's everything now for episode number 148. Obviously, we're heading towards the back end of 2025 now. The way that these are, this will be the last talking shirts of 2025. But there's no Christmas break here. We will continue. We'll be bringing you a brand new episode every 2 weeks. Episode number 149 is going to be a shirt that features in the 2026 Hull KR Shirts calendar. So if anybody did pick one of these up from me, there's about 50 of you out there. We sold quite a few, which is good. The shirt that I'm going to cover in episode 149 is actually in this calendar. And it was a shirt that was match issued for the Challenge Cup final in 2025. So yeah, please check back in another couple of weeks and you'll be able to see a shirt that was match issued for that cup final. Thank you very much for watching. See you all again soon. Bye for now.